Hey, what's up guys? Today I'll show you an action horror film, Constantine. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins where a worker accidentally finds a mysterious spear hidden underground. As he picks up the spear, a demon possesses him. He then gains the supernatural strength to smash the car that suddenly hits him. After getting hit by the car, he just casually walks away while holding the spear. The scene then moves towards an apartment in Los Angeles. Inside, there is a possessed woman that terrorizes the dwellers of the apartment. So a chain-smoking demon hunter named Constantine is called upon by his associate, nicknamed Mr. Fatty, to slay the demon. To exorcise the possessed woman, he puts an amulet to her face, which instantly makes the demon scream in agony. But he is unable to take out the demon, so he tells everyone to quickly get a mirror. He also tells his assistant, called Taxi Boy, to move away from the car from the window. He then uses the mirror to entrap the demon there. As he performs the exorcism, the demon is still trying to fight back. Shortly after, the demon finally gets trapped in the mirror. So he forcibly pulls the rope that pushes the mirror outside the window. The demon then gets annihilated as the mirror shatters when it falls to the ground. As he is done with the mission, he leaves the apartment with Taxi Boy. Meanwhile, a detective called Ms. Detective comes to confess in the church. She reveals that she feels guilty as she killed a man during a police operation. Later at night, she suddenly wakes up as she dreams about her religious twin sister committing suicide. Apparently, at that exact moment, the sister gets possessed by a demon. The demon then makes sister jump out of the rooftop and she falls to the water pool. The following day, Constantine goes to the hospital and he starts to vomit blood. The doctor then reveals that he is about to die from lung cancer due to his constant smoking. Despite that, he still smokes another cigarette when he walks out of the doctor's room. Ms. Detective also comes to the hospital to take a look at her sister's death. Her fellow detective says that sister committed suicide. But Ms. Detective keeps on insisting that her sister's death is an accident. As she is about to leave, she encounters Constantine, who refuses to hold the elevator door to wait for her. In the meantime, the possessed worker crosses the border. He walks along the vast field, where the livestock die one after the other as he passes through them. Later, Constantine meets his relic collector friend called Nerdy, who brings him rare relics. A small flamethrower weapon suddenly gets his attention, so he tries to use it. After that, Constantine informs Nerdy about the purebred demon who tries to enter the world. So he tells Nerdy to check the writings about the demons. When night comes, Constantine goes towards the church archive, where he encounters Ms. Detective, who comes to talk with the priest. She comes to insist to the priest to bless sister's burial, but the priests say that it is against the church rules, since committing suicide is a mortal sin. On the other side, Constantine goes to talk with a half-breed angel named Gabriel. He requests Gabriel more time to dwell on Earth, so he can prove himself worthy of going to heaven. It turns out that Constantine committed suicide during his childhood, which is considered a grave sin. Constantine was born with a capacity to see angels and demons disguised as humans. As a child, he cannot understand what he is seeing, so this forces him to commit suicide. However, he was sent back to Earth to atone for his sins. He has been given a mission to guard the world against the demons that break the rules. Apparently, there is a rule that allows angels and demons to influence human acts, but they can never directly intervene in the world. The demons who break this rule are sent back to hell. Meanwhile, in response to his request, Gabriel says the only thing that can allow Constantine to go to heaven is genuine sacrifice. But Constantine never did that, so Gabriel mocks him, as he will be sent to hell. After that, Constantine walks through the rain, where a full demon suddenly attacks him. The demon is composed of bugs that suddenly form into the demon's body. As the demon proceeds to attack him, a car instantly hits the demon, causing it to vanish. Apparently, full demons are not allowed to enter the human world, so he goes to a former witch doctor named Midnight, who owns a bar that serves as a neutral ground for both half-breed angels and demons. He then informs Midnight about it. He also tries to seek help from Midnight, but Midnight refuses to help, since he swore an oath to be neutral at all times between the opposing forces of demons and angels. Later, Ms. Detective thinks that sister's death is caused by demons, so she goes to Constantine to ask for help. He seems to be uninterested in Ms. Detective's story, since he is still loathing the thought that he is about to go to hell. He then tells Ms. Detective to leave. As she goes outside, he sees a troop of demons coming to attack her, so he quickly follows her outside. He informs her that there is a wager between God and the devil for the souls of all mankind, so angels and demons are allowed to influence human actions. But on the contrary, Ms. Detective believes that man is solely responsible for his actions, meaning the wager has nothing to do with all the evil acts in the world. Suddenly the lights turn off, which is a sign that the demons are about to attack them. As the demons come to attack them, Constantine immediately creates a fire that burns the hell out of the demons. The demons then instantly vanish, only leaving a smell of sulfur. After that, Constantine agrees to help Ms. Detective to uncover the mystery behind her sister's death. Constantine then goes to hell to find Sister there. As he performs the ritual, the world around him turns into a chaotic burning place. It seems that hell is hidden behind the human world. As he continues to survey hell, he finds Sister, who throws her hospital tag to him. He rushes to catch it, and he instantly comes back to the human world. He then reveals to Ms. Detective that her sister really committed suicide, and her sister is already damned for it. After that, they eat together in the streets, where Constantine confesses his childhood experiences of seeing angels and demons. He reveals that heaven and hell is a world hidden behind the human world. He says that only half-breed demons and angels are allowed to dwell within the human world, and they are here to influence human acts. Meanwhile, Mr. Fatty comes to investigate Sister's death. As he checks Sister's body, a demonic sign suddenly appears in her, which shocks him. He suddenly feels very thirsty, so he comes to a liquor store to drink, but the liquid in the bottles refuses to let him drink. Apparently, a half-breed demon named Balthazar comes to prevent him from drinking until he dies from thirst. When he is about to die, he keeps stabbing his hand. After learning about Mr. Fatty's death, Ms. Detective and Constantine immediately come to investigate. Constantine then finds a demonic sign embedded in Mr. Fatty's hand. He then quickly informs Nerdy about the demonic sign so Nerdy can check its meaning. The following day, Constantine and Ms. Detective come to Sister's hospital room, where they find a Bible verse that refers to Corinthians 17, but Constantine reveals that this verse can only be found in the Bible of hell. This verse reveals that in the end, the devil will triumph and will take possession of the human world. On the phone, Nerdy reveals to them that the demonic sign refers to Lucifer's son, named Mammon. It turns out that Mammon plans to take over the world against the orders of Lucifer. Mammon can only penetrate the human world through divine power and with the use of a powerful psychic. Meanwhile, they hear on the phone that Nerdy is getting attacked by the demon, so they rush towards him. But upon their arrival, Nerdy is already dead and surrounded by the demonic bugs. After that, Ms. Detective reveals that she is a psychic who has the capacity to see supernatural things, but it becomes inactive due to her constant denial. To see what her sister saw before her death, Ms. Detective wants to reactivate this power. So Constantine performs a ritual on her in the bathtub by submerging her under the waters. She then witnesses hell at that moment. Now that she has the power back, they come back to Nerdy's place to investigate, where she finds a clue that Balthazar is helping Mammon to take over the world. They then rush towards Balthazar. Constantine instantly shoots Balthazar with a flamethrower and throws a liquid that burns Balthazar's face. Balthazar tries to fight back, but Constantine beats the hell out of him using the holy knuckles. Balthazar then reveals Mammon's plan to take over the world, in fear that Constantine will send him to heaven. As Constantine and Ms. Detective leave the room, Mammon arrives to vanish Balthazar to nothingness. It turns out that Mammon is already walking in the human world through possessing the worker, who holds the spear of destiny that has divine power. This spear was used to kill Christ, so it has the blood of the Son of God. This means that Mammon only needs Ms. Detective, who is a powerful psychic. Mammon then uses his powerful demonic force to instantly grab Ms. Detective away. Constantine tries his best to grab her back, but the demonic force is too fast, so he fails to catch up. To trace her location, he rushes towards Midnight's bar. He uses force to barge into Midnight's neutral room. He insists that Midnight needs to help him by letting him use the chair. After a light scuffle, he is able to convince Midnight to help him. He uses the magic chair, which reveals that Mammon is in the hospital, together with his demon minions. He then quickly prepares to confront Mammon with the help of Taxi Boy, who prepares the holy bullet. Later, as they arrive at the hospital, Taxi Boy puts the holy cross in the hospital water supply. Meanwhile, Constantine confronts the ugly demons. After he declares that the demons violated the rules, he activates the sprinklers used to spray holy water to the demons, resulting in slowly burning their ugly faces. As the demons try to fight back, Constantine shoots them with the holy bullets one after the other, until all of them are gone. Taxi Boy suddenly arrives to shoot the last demon. Meanwhile, Mammon forcibly puts Ms. Detective to hell, where he takes possession of her. So when Constantine arrives to rescue her at the pool, she is already possessed by Mammon. Constantine then performs an exorcism prayer, but the demon is so strong that it is able to submerge him underwater. Luckily, Taxi Boy arrives to drag her away from the pool. Constantine proceeds to perform the exorcism, where Taxi Boy also helps him. As Ms. Detective comes to normal, they feel relief, thinking that they finally cast out Mammon. But it turns out that Mammon is still there, as it suddenly uses its demonic force to smash Taxi Boy repeatedly towards the ceiling. This leads to Taxi Boy's death. At this moment, Constantine uses his power to call upon divine assistance. Heaven opens where Gabriel suddenly arrives to mock him. It turns out that Gabriel resents God's favoritism to humans, so she plans to let Mammon out into the world. Gabriel blows him away. After that, she proceeds to execute her plan to let Mammon out of Ms. Detective's body. But time suddenly stops when Constantine kills himself. It turns out that he did that to call upon Lucifer, who will collect his soul. Constantine then informs Lucifer about Mammon's plan to take over the world before him. Lucifer then slowly walks towards the pool, where he comes to drag Mammon away from Gabriel. He then declares that he will take over the world in his own time. At this moment, Gabriel tries to smite him, but it turns out that God has already removed her divine power. So Lucifer easily defeats her by using his powerful demonic force. After that, Lucifer walks back towards Constantine. At this moment, Lucifer asks him whether he wants to continue living. In response, he decides to let Sister live rather than himself. Lucifer then instantly grants his wish. After that, Lucifer gladly proceeds to collect his soul. But he suddenly becomes heavy when Lucifer starts dragging him. It turns out that the divine grants him on entering heaven because of his act of genuine sacrifice by letting Ms. Detective's sister live. However, Lucifer drags him back and lets him live to prove himself worthy of being sent to hell. Lucifer also treats his cancer, so he will continue living longer. After Lucifer leaves the world, Constantine finally reunites with Ms. Detective, who is no longer possessed by Mammon. Suddenly, Gabriel emerges out of the pool. It turns out that she turned into a human. She then tries to tempt Constantine to take revenge on her. But he just punches her face so she can feel human pain. After that, Constantine hands over the Spear of Destiny to Ms. Detective on the rooftop. He tells her to take care of it, so no one will use it to spread evil to the human world. Ms. Detective expects a smelly kiss from him. But in the end, they just simply part ways, since he says that he needs to do some cleaning. In the ending scene, Constantine comes to visit Taxi Boy's grave, where the angel Taxi Boy appears behind him. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.